All right, and we're live. Picking our. This is going to be 7, 8, 9, 10. Our, I don't know, 9th, 10th barrel pick. I think somewhere around there, somewhere between 9 and 10, 9 and 11, we'll say, somewhere between there. So thanks for joining us, everybody who's watching this now or going to be watching this later on. We are going to be picking a Tattersall Distilling cask strength rye. So Tattersall Distilling is out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. They just recently opened a new location just across the border in Wisconsin, just so that they can increase their capacity and start to put out more product. I want to say this was maybe like a year and a half ago. I walked into Benny's in Oak Brook, and one of my buddies was like, "Oh, you should try this. You should try this bottle of rye," which I have. I think it's it's this bottle laying down on its side right there. Benny's pick cask strength rye, and I was just totally blown away. So I got in touch with the distillery, and here we are a year and a half later, picking our own barrel for the club. So we had 10 people on this pick, 10 myself plus 9 other Patreon supporters. So thank you guys for not only supporting us on Patreon, but being a part of this pick. You guys all have samples in front of you, 1 through 4. Some of you got a 5th, the others got a 6th and 7th, which is basically just their bourbon. It's a high rye bourbon and a high wheat bourbon. We are going to be sampling 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to be picking. There's the other Josh. We're going to be picking one of them. They're all cask strength ryes. These are all 100% rye, 80% rye, 20% malted rye. So this is not going to be a rye. Like if you're a rye purist that likes that MGP rye, or you like that 95.5, that dill, kind of briny, salty, maybe a little bit bitter, sour rye. Whistle Pig would be a good one. This is definitely not that. This is a really big, bold, full flavored rye. So without further ado, guys, we have 4 people that already, 4 people from the 10 that already sampled theirs. And I went ahead and listed everything, so we're just going to kind of tally everything off. Very similar to how we've done it in the past. We're just going to start with number 1, talk about the nose, palate, and finish, rate it, and then move on to number 2, and then number 3, and number 4. All right. The proof on these is all 130 plus. That's all I know.
Oh.
Ow.
I had no idea what we were in store for.
That's
It's gonna be that kind of night.
Sleeping in my basement tonight, apparently.
It's gonna be that kind of night,
Make
guys.
it upstairs.
If anybody has a
130.
spit cup, use it now.
So, can I kick off on the nose? I'm always very hesitant to go first because I'm like, there's no way I'm right. Just transferring from nose to words doesn't really work well. But like, very unique for a rye. It's like, it's very fruity and brown sugary on the nose.
I agree.
It's surprisingly sweet on the nose. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, very sweet on the nose.
It's almost a little dusty. And
Yeah,
I made
like-
sure my glass wasn't dusty before putting
Like
it
a little
in too.
antique-y, right? Like there's like a little antique-ness in there.
Yeah. Wow.
I get like huge hits of caramel.
Yeah.
As you guys think of something, shout it out. I'm gonna write it down.
It is,
That fruit's kind of like dried fruit, though, right?
yeah.
I'd agree with you. Smells like raisins.
Yeah. Yep. I was gonna go like at first smell. I got a little bit of like apple, like candied apple.
I just was thinking like orchard fruit, like
Yep.
green apple.
That's what I want baked into breads.
I I really like the nose on this one.
I got that brown sugar too. Definitely.
Whew.
Yeah. I didn't want to warn you. It is. That's a heater.
Oh yeah.
Everybody has water, right?
I do.
Yes.
About to go.
I do.
About to go with the little eyedropper.
Wow. I got to go grab my eyedropper real quick. That is really, really good. That is really good, but holy cow.
Everybody
I
got the same blue dropper?
Everyone's got the same blue droppers? All right, good.
Oh, I will be right back. Good Lord.
It's like we all bought the recommended item on Amazon.
Wow, I need to buy one of those things.
Yeah, I'll be slumming it.
Man, that hit me by surprise. So that's big. That's bold.
Chewy.
I mean, wow.
2 drops and it. Yeah, it. Not going to seem much more drinkable. 2 drops.
The brown sugar really comes out a lot more.
Yeah.
I agree with Tina.
What'd you say, Tina?
I said that brown sugar really comes out.
Yeah, that brown sugar note's real, like
after those couple of drops.
Almost kind of burnt brown sugar though. It's like definitely caramelized.
Caramelized sugar.
That first hit, I just keep thinking of the Malloy's barrel, the honey butter pick, and that it just kept going like that. That did the first time I tasted that.
I feel like there's a butteriness in there, like a brown butter. All right, I'm gonna go back in for the palate now that I added a couple drops of water.
Whew. It's in the back of the palate though. It's not very forward. Like I don't know.
It's very like roasty. There's like a roasty toasty, like a toasted. How would I describe that?
I don't know if we can move forward with just roasty toasty, Mike.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of trying to pinpoint what that is. I don't want to be as generic as just saying toasted baking spice, but it's it just got it it feels like it's been heated on a stove, and you bring through some of those toasted sugars and some of those caramelized notes.
So I'm a dork about writing notes. I wrote nose. I wrote down sugar dusted toasted hazelnuts. On the nose is what I get predominantly. Palate, chocolate malt, chocolate covered espresso beans. Toasted brown sugar, something just some sort of caramelized brown sugar. Finish is very honeyed to me. I did not, and this is not I'm good with ABV. The ABV didn't bother me as much, but I've also had some warm up drinks. I was drinking our Starlight Cab Sav pick, but the finish, the texture is notably heavy. The texture, I'm big on the texture and how it. There's no other way to say this. How it feels in the mouth. Shut up, Mike.
You go mouthfeel. You go mouthfeel. Less opportunities.
How does it feel in your mouth?
It's got a heavy texture to it. It's very oily, but it reminds me of honey. The finish is very honeyed.
Yeah.
It's got a long honey to it, and it just sort of lingers for a while. But I chocolate malt is a big note in the mid palate for me.
Anybody else? Anyone?
I mean, I would agree with the finish. Like I said, it reminds me of that Malloy's honey butter pick we did. How it just kept going, and you know, it definitely is oily and chewy on the back end. So
Oily and chewy. All right. Moving on to number 2.
If we can, as we go through, I think we should, if we get a chance to, maybe save the water for the end and go back through with like all together with a few drops of water.
Yeah.
Fair.
I know that's not like unheard of in bourbon people, but so I pre-smelled these, like pre-nosed them. Two was tough for me to nail down. I'm curious what you all get from it.
Two
It's
seems very light.
Agreed.
a little bit, yeah.
Like the nose is very shy in this one. I was having a hard time.
Yeah,
getting
this
your
one-
very
it-
stereotypical, like caramel, sugar.
Doesn't pop out as much as
No.
number 1.
I get a little melon, or maybe it's like an apple of some sort. It's definitely.
I was getting. I'm with you. I was getting sort of like a my first thing that popped in my head was like an apple bread, like almost like a banana bread, but like an apple version of that. I think that's the malt coming through.
It does. It has like a doughiness to it.
See, now that connects. That dough.
I don't know why, but for some reason I smell cantaloupe. I don't know why.
Cantaloupe?
I get the melon too. Yeah.
I'm going to guess at how to spell cantaloupe.
Canta.
I'm pretty sure I got it right.
Cant.
I'm pretty sure I got it right.
E.
Loop.
Can't elope.
That's a good comparison.
These so far might be the most multi ryes I think I've ever had, which I appreciate right now.
Which is
Not-
strange because there's no barley in here
No,
at all.
but it has some.
The
some-
second dram is definitely less. I think the
Hard.
second dram is less sweet. It tastes a little bit cereal bready to me.
And it doesn't finish as long as number 1. It
Nope.
Agreed.
stops.
Definitely,
Falls
yeah,
off.
Thinner-
definitely
falls off
short.
fast.
thinner texture. The texture's thinner on it. It's hotter in the finish for me.
A little bit.
It is, but it stops quick.
It
I would say
does.
it's a little bit spicier. It's not as like
Oh, I don't
feel
mean the
like
ethanol. I'm with you. I meant like the baking spices. Or
Yeah,
the-
like spicy, like
yeah.
like white
Red.
pepper, the baking spice, like
Sure.
cinnamon,
I
stuff
get,
like that.
I get the cinnamon, the red hots. Like,
Red, yeah.
yeah.
Pretty spicy though.
Cinnamon red hot.
My notes for this one are probably not fair.
What did so I only have one thing for the palate. What did you guys say for the palate? I got cereal.
Doughy,
Doughy.
thin.
Mhm.
Thin.
Thin.
I don't want to say my other one. I want to be.
What's your other one?
It's boring.
Boring.
No offense. Yeah. No offense.
Well, I said less sweet.
It's just it doesn't have. It's hard. Like let's say this: if we were blind sampling and we didn't know who it was, and they were like intermingled, I would say if I went to this one, I'd be like, I like the first one way better. If we were just doing two,
I think I like the first one better than the second one.
I agree with you on that.
For sure.
Yeah, it stands out way more to
Two.
me.
It seems like it would be easy, I guess, to kind of use for it, but it seems kind of, like you said, kind of boring.
I would. This one is one where I would be like, if I were in the Rick house and walking through, I'd taste it like, that one's got to sit for a while. You know, like that one's got some more time to sit in the barrel.
It'll be interesting putting the water in it later because I think it'll
100%, because it
kind of
could
blah.
maybe, but it's crazy how sometimes it could wake up.
True. Hey, how are we rating these score-wise? What was the scale?
So I don't like the 100-point scale because it's just like, I mean, really, what's the difference between a 93 and a 94? You know what I mean? So I like to do the a 5-point scale, and then I like to use an emoji.
Ooh.
Like, what emoji would describe this particular whiskey? You know what I mean?
Okay.
So pull out your phones and go through your emojis. So number one, I'm not grading number one based on number two. I'm grading number one based on like what I think of it, just on its own. I would say for me, number one, just because I like that style of rye, I'm gonna go 3.75, and I'm gonna give that one the star emoji. I think that one is just bright. I like it.
I like the emoji approach.
It's fun. There's a sommelier that I follow on Instagram. I watch some of his YouTube videos. He's super. He grades like cheap wine, like boxed wine, and he grades using an emoji. And I'm like, I like that. I like that approach. That's cool. All right, I'm moving on to number three. Number two, I'd probably go 2.75, maybe 3. Not super complex. Not real, like, didn't have a lot of oomph.
I would say, yeah, like
Number
so.
two,
I
I
mean, it
put
sounds
2.5.
like, yeah, I think on the 5-point scale, 3 is average, right? Like 2.5 below average.
Mm-hmm.
To me, average is like you either buy it or you don't buy it. You're sort of indifferent to it.
I'd say 2.75, and I'm going to give it this guy, this emoji.
That's exactly
You know,
what
like,
I did.
All right, I'm moving on to number three.
Nose is totally different on this one.
The note, yeah, like way, way different than the first two.
Man.
Yeah, I get that like cola.
Yeah. Man, but when you like, are we allowed to talk about previous smells and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I don't want to like influence, but if you pick up 1 and 3, damn, three's nose is like. Does three's nose remind you of like some sort of buttered sweetbread? If you go between the two, I get like this wacky butter, like fatty butter on there.
Oh, number one
Yeah.
now is like now. Go back to number
super
one.
Yeah.
Holy cow, that's like
love
dates and figs and like
It
just-
reminds
it's high
me
fruit.
of
I like it.
Cinnabon. It reminds me of that Cinnabon cream.
think I
The
could-
cream that's. Oh, sorry.
See, I think the nose gets. I think I don't know, Mike, if it was you said it was kind of buttery at the end. I get it on the nose now on number one.
I agree. I'm with you. I think
Really good.
it reminds
going
me of
back
that
to
Cinnabon
number-
cream.
I'm going back to number one now that it's like opened up a little bit and there's a little bit of water added in there.
Yeah, I went.
Well-
I did add some water. I feel bad. Number 3. I'm sorry. I'll be back. It's okay.
We lost somebody.
I think your internet might have
Tina froze.
She'll be back.
Woo. Man, that cinnamon.
Ooh, but the palate on number 3.
I like the palate on number 3, yes.
Wow, right? Wow.
It builds and then goes and then keeps going. I like it. Yeah.
That's number 3, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 is still, you're saying all of these are 130-ish?
Ish.
Yeah, 130-ish. So they're all 130 plus is what's listed on the bottle.
That doesn't, like number 1, right? Like I think we can all agree. When you first
Oh,
pulled off
for
of
sure.
1, it
Number
punched you
3, though?
like a 130. 3 does not drink like a 130. That's
3 does not drink as
I
hot
don't-
as it.
I don't think
don't
you get
think
all the same
two does,
flavor notes, but it calms down.
Man, I wish we could put the nose on the palate, the finish on 3 though.
If I could
Yeah,
put the
like-
nose of 1 on 3,
Yep, for sure,
Amen.
for sure. But the nose on 3 might change too later, so it's
Yeah, the only thing with 3 is I'm not getting a. It's a long finish. It's a lot of spice.
I get like a lot of like
I get a lot of
Gracious.
pepper.
A lot of what? Sorry.
like herbal. There's like a spearminty, minty sort
StreamYard keeps messing
going on.
up.
But
It
that's
doesn't-
With us.
it doesn't drink hot to me though. I think it's tame.
that
Walk away from the
cola
light,
definitely
you know.
comes through on number 3. I definitely get like the, and the finish is just like
Like a Dr. Pepper type, or like what kind of cola you like?
a
a
cherry
sugary-
cola, Dr.
yeah.
Pepper. Like Dr. Pepper is basically cherry cola with vanilla and like some cola
Yeah.
nut and some other like things in there. I don't know what is it, like 27 ingredients in Dr. Pepper or 11 or something like that. But everybody kind of knows like what.
It's 26.
The finish on 3 is dry too.
It
The
is
finish
dry.
on
I'm
3 is
with you, yeah.
definitely dry.
I can't.
I think it's
I don't know
the-
if you've noticed,
it's-
but I keep going, like slapping my lips together.
What are you guys
I think
getting?
the
So
finish on 3 is truest to a rye.
yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going over some of the stuff that the other 4 had sent me. And Andrew made a really, really great observation. Spiced rum and Coke. And
On
like
3.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just imagining, like, I was in Vegas a couple weeks ago for Thanksgiving, and I had a rum and Coke while I was sitting losing money at a slot machine,
as one does.
Sounds right.
as one normally does. And I can definitely like a Captain and Coke. Like it's got that sweet kind of cherry vanilla. You get some of like that those molassesy notes in there. I'm not too particular on the
I
nose.
just wrote
on
down
number 2.
cherry.
Cherry.
Yep, I just wrote that down.
I can't.
Go
can't
back
tell.
to the nose on.
Yeah,
two. Sorry, now I'm getting some butterscotch on the nose now.
On which one?
On
Yeah.
2.
Yeah, you
Dude,
did.
butterscotch is dead on. Like not even.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
I wrote that down right before we had gotten started. I took a sniff of that one, and that was the first thing I noticed on there was the butterscotch.
I don't think we let these sit and open up long enough. I
No,
poured
probably
these
not.
15 minutes
Well-
before we went live. So these have been sitting for now 38 minutes, and they're just like they're changing so much. Like generally
And that's
for me,
where
like
nose 4 now. Because 4, right, it sat the longest while we've been doing this.
Dude, I'm gonna
And you're
say
getting
right
that-
now. Like expletive, I would fuck around with 4. 4's nose is so good, dude. It's so good. I wrote down. I've been.
with 4.
I would fuck around.
He's
with
about
4.
to
Like,
spend some alone time with 4.
Yo, I gotta go. I got a hard stop.
He just turns.
you know,
his
he
camera
was
off.
complimenting how great how like sturdy and hefty that glass was. We might want to keep an eye on
This
Nick
glass
over
wouldn't
there.
break, right?
Yeah, this glass is
Sorry,
Turn that
Mike.
camera off for a little
Oh my God. What happened there?
That was not me. That was not me. Dude, I wrote down. So I went to town on 4's nose as we were chit chatting. Strawberry cream, honeysuckle, flower, like floral.
Nick, do me a favor. Can you like just send me these? Like, send me. Is anybody else writing them down? By the way,
Oh, I didn't write down
but
3 very well.
messy.
I am.
But
Yeah.
see, Tina is. I know Nick is. I am. I'm trying to write them down. There you go. What? So okay. So what? Number 3. I would go a little bit higher. Like the palate for sure for number 3 for me was like unbelievable. Really, really good. I'm gonna go palate 4.25, but the nose was like a 3.5. So what does that average out to be? 4-ish?
Ish, maybe
4-ish.
slightly less. I'm not.
I'm gonna give that
but
the. Hold on. Well, you guys are sampling 3. I gotta figure out what emoji that gets. Because that one was
It's
pretty.
the-
That one was good. I did really
It's
like
the-
that one.
hmm,
Yeah, because like the nose and the palate aren't like they don't
it's kind of
quite
it's
match
confusing.
up.
It's
It's
confusing.
confusing. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh my god.
It's that emoji with the hand on the mouth.
Yeah, like trying to
That one. Hmm.
So the nose on 4 is really great. I like that.
I'm
Yeah,
not saying
it's super
anything else
good.
about 4. I'll let you guys try it.
Nick, you said strawberry cream.
I got strawberry cream, honeysuckle, floral. Like it is that nose is active.
Honey.
Can't wait till definitely. Yeah.
Definitely honey.
honeysuckle, yeah.
I get like herbal tea.
I definitely can see like a Darjeeling.
A Darjeeling.
Yeah, it's like Darjeeling, man.
What's
You ever had Darjeeling
that?
tea?
Never.
Oh,
I'm not even
Darjeeling-
going to attempt to write that down. I'm just going to say herbal tea. You can send me that in your notes without Googling how to spell it
No,
or
no, no,
looking at the package.
No. Darjeeling is Darjeeling, Jeel. Darjeeling.
Darjeeling tea wasn't she in the OC on Fox?
Yeah.
Wasn't she on that show? Darjeeling tea.
See, I was thinking about the Wes Anderson.
I think the color is
the,
beautiful.
Darjeeling
also-
Limited. But
There's Darjeeling Limited, exactly. Yeah. But so Darjeeling tea is a black. It's a tea from India.
yes,
But it's black tea. Technically black. Man, dude, dead on though. Black tea, like dead on. I want to see what y'all think about the palate.
You like a bitter cocoa, like a dark chocolate.
another short finish though.
Yeah.
But I get that tea in the finish again.
So, for me, this drink's way below the stated proof.
Yeah,
I think
does
it drinks right about.
Does it really?
Yeah, for
Man.
me it drinks right around that range. Like 65%.
I think it's crushable. Like this is
that's-
dangerous.
I'm with you there, man. Like it's smooth. It's I hate using that word smooth, but it comes across like tea. The finish is not long like number 1 is, where it's like mouth coating honey, but it's drying and it's crushable, big time crushable. I'm very interested in that one with water.
Which one do you think's more drinkable, Nick? Number 3 or number 4?
More drinkable? Number 4. I mean, like
for sure.
I should ask Sharon to come down here and just tell her to take a sip of each one. I'm curious how she reacts.
I'm going back to the nose on number 2. I'm like
Butterscotch.
I'm floored by every time I pick them up again. They change.
I mean, I'm smelling a Werther's original on 2 now.
2 is dead on. Yeah, man, for sure. Yes.
And I promise I drink our glass gym pick last
Did
night.
anybody get any mint on number 3?
Yes. I wrote down.
I said
Go ahead, sorry.
herbal. Yeah, mint.
Like a
I
very
wrote
faint
down,
spearmint.
I wrote down spearmint. I wrote
Yes.
down. That was one of my first notes. I was like, "Oh, spearmint. That's crazy."
But it's like
And it, like-
super subtle. Super subtle.
Yes. I was just gonna say that's its rye note is very spearminty. Damn, 4's nose. My God.
Man,
All right,
they
I've
3 just
watered
drinks
all of
On the
totally
front
different
end.
than 4.
Is where I got it the most, and then a little bit on the aroma.
All right, everything has been watered. I'm gonna go back through here.
I think one
So,
has the best
It
nose.
does. It really does.
One has the best nose by far and away
by far.
for me.
Yeah.
It's super buttery.
It's so buttery.
It reminds me so much of Cinnabons, and I promise, like, because we talked about cinnamon honey butter in the last one, but it reminds me so much of that Cinnabon cream on the nose. Not as if you were like standing next to the store, but if you walk in the mall, you're like, oh, they have a Cinnabon here.
Yeah.
So being the first time I've done this, like, for those that have done it in the past, like, do you see this much variation? Like, because I don't think any of these taste the same.
Well,
Yes.
so Josh and Nick, so the maple syrup cask, that one was actually, so we only got 3 samples on that. Well, so we got 3 samples on that one, but remember that one that was like smoky.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember that one? And like the other 2 were not that way at all. But there was
Yeah,
like for
you
the
can
maple
get a
syrup,
lot
there
of
was a very
variation.
clear-cut winner. It's crazy, like the amount of variation that you get from number 1, going from sampling number 1 to number 4, and then going back to number 1 in that 5 to 8 minutes. Like it has totally changed the nose, the palate. I wish I could just like build one with like the nose of this one and the palate of this one and then the finish of this one.
Is that not an option?
No.
You guys aren't doing an affinity bottle?
That would be you're describing a blending house. I'm down. Let's blend it. Fuck, let's go. Dude. Go back with water on 1.
Use
I'm
this
just
one.
curious.
Water on 1 just opened it up so
It's
much
insane.
more.
It's insane. It's oh, okay. The palate on 1 and that texture. None of them had that texture like 1 has.
I think 1 is a really great whiskey, just in general.
It sticks.
Dude.
Yeah, it's very like it coats everything.
I would buy a bottle of 1 right now. I would. 1 has my fuck around and find out rating.
So without the water, it coats
really
the mouth
thought
pretty good.
4 was going to steal.
I did too, because 4's nose is incredible. Man, but you go back to 1, like even side by side. Please, I say this like I am not trying to influence anyone else's opinion. Like your opinion is your opinion. So if you hate 4, you like 1, you hate whatever. Dude, 4's nose is really fucking good. I mean, it is like crazy. It's so fruity. That's what the
It's so
nose is
fruity.
like,
Yeah.
It's so different than all 3 of them. So it's sort of like what do you want? Do you want a fruity black tea? Because
That's absolutely crushable.
That's just. I mean, you can destroy it. I haven't tried it with water yet. I watered it down a little.
I will say this, like this is like we've done quite a few barrel picks now, and we've live streamed. I think probably all, but maybe like one of them, 2 of them, maybe. This is. I think this might be the toughest one that we've done because these are all really good in their own way.
Damn, 4 with water is really good. Fuck.
So a conversation that we've had in the past is the difference between, right, if some of us are high ABV drinkers, then we may find something enjoyable that maybe the group as a whole in moving, whether it's half barrel or full barrel, however many bottles, right, maybe is a little less approachable. I know like with Starlight, approachability was a big topic of that selection.
Yeah.
I'd be curious your guys' thoughts on the difference between like one carried a lot of heat, but now that it's sat a little bit and a couple drops of water, I don't find that heat. Also, my palate's warmed up, so that helps. But and where maybe the glass that I think is my preferred, I may not think is the most widely approachable, consumable to the group. So I'd be curious your guys' thoughts on how to weigh that out, as well as maybe where you think those land.
So,
Well, see-
so I think. Go ahead. Go first.
Well, for me, I'm not tasting any of them with water. Like I'm just going straight off what they are, because I am a high ABV kind of person, and for me, I already know what my ranking would be on all four of them. For me, I just know what my palate is and what I like, and I know what I like and what I don't like. But I don't view things when we pick things on like. I just don't view things on approachability. I view things on like what's unique, and like, because I think that people can go off and buy like standard bottles, and so like when people do barrel picks, it should be something like that is unique and different, and why you should go off and buy one, as opposed to like, oh, this is approachable, people would like this one, like I don't know. I'm more a unique kind of person, so that's why
I'm in that same boat. I'm in that same boat.
I would second that too. Sorry, Mike. I mean, when I go to a liquor store, that's all I do is I look first for store picks and see what's interesting, and then I look for stuff that maybe I need to replenish that I know I can get anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm with you. To me, it's the uniqueness. It's hey, what's interesting? What's something that I'm gonna be proud that we picked because it tastes damn good, and it's not like anything you can just go to the store and buy.
Right.
Okay.
So I'd find myself a little bit more of a novice when it comes to higher ABVs, but I found myself enjoying those a lot more and noticing the flavor profile differences amongst them, and the flavors being more robust and more appealing to me when it hits my palate.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have an order in mind after going through all of these. I actually too also have an order in mind of most like to least like, but I would probably drink any one of these on any given day.
I think they're all so different that each one of them has their own place, and like somebody would like one of each of these four. I think I know which one I'm leaning towards, and it's funny because it's actually not like going back to them. It's not the one that I rated the highest. I'm gonna have to go back and change my score.
Any chance anyone else is barrel picking this into the area so we know we can snag the other one?
No. Benny's might do another one, but they've already done one. Tattersall
That
is
worked
like
out with Starlight.
That's you guys. Pardon my French, but you guys fucking nailed that one.
Well, and that Sauternes was still coming into market, so.
Mm-hmm. I gotta change my score on one of these, but I'm gonna save it until the very, very end. But I think I know which one.
I'll say in the room when we picked the barrel craft spirits, the cinnamon honey butter, there was a very similar sentiment of like, do we pick the one that we know is the best, or do we pick the one that's sort of like close to the best, but we know is more approachable for everyone? And I fought pretty hard on Mount Everest. Like, I am putting my flag in the ground and like, no, you pick the one that's the best because it's the best, and you put your name on it, and then you know that no one else has that pick. And
well, so this is what I tell, and Nick and Josh, you guys know this because you guys have done this a few times with us before. I tell people, we're not comparing 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're picking the best one, because remember, the people that are going to buy this barrel pick, they're only trying the one that we picked. They can't compare the other to the other 3. So while 2 may be better than 4, and 4 may be better than 1, and 3 may be better than 2, everybody else doesn't know that. They're going off of their past experience with everything else that they've ever drank before. And how does this rate in there? For me, I think I've got my answer, but I'm curious when you guys are ready.
So
and there we go. So
can I go first?
I was just saying, so can we all enter it in chat? It would be crazy if we all type your number one pick in chat and hit enter at the same time.
All right, I'm going to type my number one pick in the chat.
So I'm torn between two of them.
I am too.
And I don't.
I'm going to try one more time.
I'm a little torn, but I think I know
I
which one.
wanted to share my two and just let y'all do the dirty work of picking one.
What if we all say the same? What if we all say our pick on the count of 3?
So here's the thing. Remember, there's 4 other people, and they've already voted.
Right.
They've already
they're
voted.
not here, so we can pretend like it's not counting.
Yeah.
There's 6 of us.
Count it down, and we'll hold up the finger. Count it down, and you hold up the finger of your number.
What do we that's a good way to do it.
Can I tell you the one I don't like?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Not yet.
Ooh, that might be a plot twist. Doing that first.
No, to me, out of the 4, there's one that clearly isn't as good as the other 3.
I completely agree with you, but
Yes.
I just went back to 4, and there's like a minty spearmint, wintergreen.
I started getting that on 4.
Yeah. It's not a note that I particularly care for, but with everything else that's going on in there, it balances pretty well. But I still know which one
So it's not 4, is what you're saying?
All right. Do we want to do it on 3?
Yeah,
sure.
We'll do it on 3.
All right, are you ready?
1.
Hold on. Everybody center your hand so that the screen can see it. 1, 2, 3. Oh!
Ooh.
Number one was my
Number
pick,
one is
right
winning?
there. Oh, it was so close. Okay, hold on, real quick.
So
number 1. Who had number 1? How many? Mark, Josh, Tina. So 1, 2, 3. Who had number 2? I had number 2, and Josh had number 2. Nick, you had what?
4.
Number
and
4.
I was gonna hold up 1, but at the last second I dark horse.
Really close.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden
I was torn between 1 and 4 as well.
Okay,
I was about to hold up 1.
So here's where it gets real complicated.
Oh, I love it. Let's
One
go.
person voted for 3. One person voted for 4. 4 people voted for 1. 4 people voted for 2. We got a tiebreaker, you guys.
Wow.
We got a goddamn tiebreaker.
Well, since I will say,
I knew this was going to get interesting. All right, so
5 wins. 5 wins.
Right.
Since 4 has no chance, I'll bow out of 4 and I'll switch over to camp 1 because I was really going to hold up 1, but I held up 4 because I'm a contrarian like that. 4 is really unique. I would buy that in a heartbeat, but.
I'm going to be honest.
That's what I would say
about
about 4. I think 4 is really unique, and the thing about 4 is it seems like when you taste it by itself, you add the water, something completely different comes out of it. So that's what I like about it. It's completely different. It'll probably be different every single time you have it.
The only reason I bow out of 1 is because it reminds me of cinnamon honey butter.
A little bit.
It's so good.
It is really good. It reminds me a little bit of cinnamon honey butter. And I was like, man, it's really close. And 4 doesn't taste like anything.
And my 1 and 2, number 3 for me, which is actually shocking because I actually initially I gave 2 a 2.75 and I gave 3 a 4, like a solid 4. But as 2 sits, it opens up and it's got that melon and the butterscotch comes through. Those Werther's Originals comes through a lot. I gave number 1 a 3.75, and I went back and I gave number 2 a 4.25, just because it opened up and I added 2 drops of water.
So I found that I really enjoyed 2 in my traditional palate, being able to enjoy as those. For me, it was more of like a maple butterscotch coming through, and I really enjoy that. But you guys kind of convicted me on that finding unique, something that I can't go find anywhere else. And this tea is, I know you have some weird Indian tea you like to drink that I've never heard of.
Darjeeling.
There you go. I really enjoy from Adagio Teas in downtown Naperville. They have this. It is a black Dragon Ball, and it is a kind of a fruity black tea that is phenomenal. And this, I was struggling to peg it in the moment you guys went tea. As it opens up, you get more and more and more of that, and that is very, to me, very unique, right? So that was why I was torn on 4 and 2. 4 being something that it'll be a long time before you come across something this unique.
That's why I voted for 4. I mean, it's just I've never had a rye that tasted like that before.
Yeah.
So can we change our votes?
I'm pouring, and I suspect, I'm going to check this now. I sort of suspect, Mike, that you like number 2 because it might remind you of Benny's Pick, and I just poured some of Benny's Pick.
That's funny because I was just about to get an Air Glencairn and actually pour that Benny's Pick.
I don't have any more of it to compare, so I couldn't tell you.
That's
I
funny.
will say I just
They just called you on the
1 and
carpet.
2.
I don't know.
Have a long Friday.
2 might be creeping back into here for me.
See, the nose on
2,
1 and 2
it's-
right now are just like,
so
I mean, they're like
The
neck and
nose,
neck.
they're very similar on the noses, yeah, for sure.
Problem is, I gotta let number 2 reopen now that I just poured the other half of it.
I would say
2 is like Benny's. It's very similar. Oh, it's very similar. Except Benny's is like, man, that mid palate on Benny's is rough. But I remember you saying it was young.
Can I break the mold and go to 4? Can I convince all of you to come with me?
I'm gonna go. I voted 4, man. I'll stay 4.
You know,
I think 4 is.
I'm close. Like I was debating 1 and 4. I think what did me in 1 was
The nose on 4. All right, I'm gonna
I
go
went
back.
to 4 camp.
Oh,
I'm in 4 camp.
Well-
Officially in 4 camp. Flag planted.
that nose
Who's in
has
4 camp?
changed on 4.
Flag.
I'm staying in
flag
4.
planted.
I was in
Good.
4. I'm staying in 4.
Yeah, you know what? The nose has definitely. Josh, what did you initially vote for? 1,
2.
2.
Yep.
You're moving to
I'm
4.
going 2 to 4. Yeah, screw 2.
Anybody else moving to? Anybody else moving?
Can you give me a few minutes? I'm on the fence. 1 and
I'm kind of now that they're this is honestly so I have a group. We have a group chat with
His nose.
Dan Grayson, Dan Johnson, Brandon Epperson,
So
and I,
emotional.
and they all said like, "How many people are in on this pick?" And I was like, 10 people, and they're like, "That's going to be a fucking shit show." And I was like,
Yes.
"Absolutely, it is. It's going to be the
Send
craziest
them
one
the
that we've
link
done."
and bring them on.
what you should have said was challenge accepted.
Bro, send them the link mid go. Bring them in just to be the peanut gallery. Let's make this
Yeah.
fun. I'm getting drunk. Let's go.
I'm telling you on 4. Keep adding water. Keep
All
adding.
right,
a drop
I'm
or
gonna
2.
go. I'm going back to 4, and you're right. I mean, it definitely.
I just can't believe that 4 is 130 around 130.
That's what I mean.
Like,
The whatever ester is fired up in there, they are coating that tongue and like I'm super scientific nerdy. That SR81 in your tongue that's supposed to signal like burning. It's turned off.
Does anybody know those? They call them like fruit leathers.
Yeah.
Ooh, I
That is
have
what I'm
strawberry
getting
ones.
out
of
of
those.
4 right now, like a raspberry
Right, I'm
fruit
hearing
leather.
myself.
we got echo.
Raspberry fruit leather.
On
Who,
4?
so here we go. Somebody commented here. Who is this, by the way? Type your name in the because it just says Facebook user. Let's go number 4. Yeah,
that
Tina,
was me. That's why you heard that.
raspberry fruit leather. Oh, is that you? You jack off.
Man, I'm campaigning. All right. Also, jack off. Was that necessary? Is hurtful, Michael.
It was,
We all
here we go.
contribute
Yo,
financially
number
to
4
this
sounds
cause.
amazing. Pick 4 or leave the group.
Those aren't
Whoa,
me.
who would
Those are
say
not
that?
me.
That's crazy.
Jeez.
I just wish 4 had the nose on 1 or 2.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I just want. Thank you. I don't particularly care for the nose on 4. The nose on 1 and 2 is awesome. Absolutely
Straight
awesome.
up smells like tea. It smells like fruit tea.
It does. It really does.
It's wild. When have you ever smelled a rye that smells like tea?
Well, that's the thing. This is definitely. I feel like people that are like expecting a very traditional rye are gonna be like, they're gonna be like, wait a minute, this doesn't taste like rye, and it absolutely does not taste like a traditional, like a whistle pig would be like the best thing to go to
for sure.
This does not. If you like rye because you like whistle pig, you are going to be sorely disappointed by the fact that this does not taste
absolutely
like that at all.
Absolutely.
Like,
I wouldn't
not
use
even
that as
my wife's a whistle
slogan.
pig fan,
Maybe don't use that as the marketing
and
slogan.
she would probably think this is completely different.
If you like whistle pig, you're gonna hate this.
We're about to upset your ass.
Yeah, you're gonna be super pissed.
But at a cheaper price than whistle pig.
Much cheaper price. Yeah. By the way, expect a retail around $45, $40 to $45.
That's
I'll
not bad.
take 10.
Yeah, it's going to be around $40 to $45, somewhere in that ballpark.
I think I'm officially changing my vote here.
I might.
Oh no!
Come on over. We got room for you over here, Tina. Come on.
I think it might be hooking me.
You might be hooking me to 4.
Man, you're just not gonna. I mean, you're not gonna find. You know, I was just talking to someone recently who was like, you know, my issue with rye is a lot of them taste the same now. Like a lot of them are heading to that sort of like, it's a rye profile camp. And I feel like this is one you could hand to someone and be like, oh yeah, have you tasted this? It reminds me of that Driftless Glen rye is bananas, right?
Dude,
like,
that Driftless Glen.
I have to
go ahead. No, Driftless Glen is going to be at Malloy's Glen Ellen tomorrow. They're going to be sampling that bottle. So anybody that has not tried it,
you got to
go to Malloy's in Glen Ellen tomorrow between 5 and 8, and sample that rye. There's only 50 bottles available.
Did we already order those?
Yeah, they're coming in like this weekend. Yeah, 5 days tomorrow at Glen Ellen, and there are 54 bottles in total.
Every time you send out the reminders, I'm like, oh shit, did I order this? And like 9 times out of 10, I already
you can go
did,
to
but...
yeah, you can go to Malloy's and just pick it up. But dude, like Nick, when you said like this is like, again, pardon my French, but like this is one of the best fucking ryes I've ever had. You're right. That Driftless Glen was out. It was redonkulous how good that was.
I called it. Sharon and I were tasting it together, and I said this tastes like black voodoo like spice, right? Like
Black voodoo spice.
Like yeah, like
was
New
that your
Orleans,
nickname in high school?
Yes. But it's like
Nick, what did I say? What did I say was my nickname in high school? What did I say?
Hold on, go check out the message.
What did I say?
What's up,
so
Black
good,
Voodoo Spice?
Feels so good in your mouth, and I was like, that's what people called me in high school.
Yeah. Yes. I was talking about the
name.
Cab Sav pick. I finally went and picked up the Cab Sav pick. I'm getting
that Starlight pick. You guys that were on that Starlight pick. Josh, I think, is probably the only one here that was on it. There we go.
Let's go.
Who did that Starlight pick?
That would be Josh. Josh, Brandon, Dan Johnson, and a couple other people.
I think
out,
the
right?
first night
The
I
cooler-
opened that bottle, I
cooler
literally could have probably drank half of that bottle. It was so
I'm not.
damn
So
good.
I'll tell you exactly what I told Mike.
So good.
I was not excited for it because Starlight has been very hit or miss with me. I picked up a Starlight pick from Binny's not a while ago, like end of 2020, and everyone was like Starlight, and I tried it, and I was like, man, this ain't that is whatever. So I was not rushing to go get it, and then I picked it up tonight at Oak and Swine. I ate there. I had a burger, by the way, which is amazing. But as soon as I got home,
The OS
cracked that
burger
open,
is lights out.
yo, that burger's insane. I have another half of it waiting for me out there, and they're half off on Thursdays. Go to Oak and Swine. But that Cab Sav pick, man, I said it's like slightly tannic, slightly drying. But dude, it's so heavy in the mouth, which is what I told Mike. I said, man, it's so good in the mouth. And Mike was like, that was my nickname in high school. So
Tina, you're going from number 1 to number 4, right?
I gotta change to 4. 4 is
You're
kind
going
of
from number 1.
And
4 is bananas, dude. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. 1 is really good too.
But dude,
But
just
when
go
you-
to.
See, for
I
me,
like
3 was
4.
never in consideration.
3 was never in consideration for me. No.
Yeah.
Oh, I wrote down on 3. I wrote nope.
Okay, so
That
Tina,
was my
sorry,
taste note.
Tina, you broke up there for a second. You had voted on number 1, right?
She's
Oh no, she's frozen.
Oh no, she froze.
She
think
was
she
a
voted on
Frozen,
one.
or
She
she's
went
making
4.
a very important point.
I think she went for number 1.
She was number 1. So I know
Okay,
it's
so-
Mark, Josh, Tina were 1. I had. Waiting for Tina.
She's got crappy internet. Is what she's got.
Oh my god, you guys!
Also
we
like to
paid
announce
for
I
like
have
real
5%.
good internet here specifically for this. Okay, so right now I have number 1 is 3 votes, number 2 is 2 votes, number 3 is 1 vote, and number 4 has 4 votes. That's still pretty close. That's
but
still
it's a
pretty close.
winner.
I mean, that's a 3 to 4, but that technically is a winner for number 4.
Josh,
So
where are you at? You were gonna say something.
No,
Which
I was
Josh?
just gonna
Which
say,
Josh?
I
I know where Griefenkampa is. He's number 4.
So I initially picked 1.
Yes.
I am intrigued by 4.
Go on.
The thing that is just giving me a little hesitation from switching to 4 is the freaking nose on this is just amazing.
on number 1, right?
Yeah, I can like.
can't drink your nose.
I get it. I totally get it.
So I'm going to pour a little bit more number 4.
Dude, the body on 1 is really good too. Like the texture.
Body on 1 is real good.
The texture is great.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Like, and this is where it gets real difficult because we're getting to, we're at 56 and a half minutes right now. We've got number 4 and number 1. It's not tied, but I mean, it's close. It's close.
Here's the good news, boys.
Ooh, is this anyone here? 2 barrels? Is this anyone here?
No, that's David
not us.
Craven. Dude,
David
1 is
Craven?
so good too, man. 1 is so good.
Hey, are these full-size barrels, we can assume, yes?
They're 53-gallon barrels, but we are only doing half, so we're only taking 100 bottles.
So do we have an
100
option
100 bottles
to take
of 4.
2?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably. I mean, I would have to get in touch with Dan and Marcus, and see if we could do 100 bottles from each. Here's my reservation on doing too much too soon. So we have Driftless Glen coming out. That's 53 bottles. We have Old Elk. That's going to be 180 bottles.
Wow.
Tattersall, which is a small distillery that not a lot of people have heard of. We could do 2 barrels at 200 bottles. The problem is that our main group of almost 3,000 people got shut down. So we have 500 people that we're now trying to sell to. And realistically, and this is a very real number that I keep track of, about 2.5% of those 3,000 people are the ones that actually buy bottles. So now we take that 2.5% and we drop it down to 2.5% of 500 people, and we just don't have the numbers to sell 200 bottles. So that's my reservation of doing two barrels. Otherwise, if our old group of almost 3,000 people were still up, I'd get Dan on the screen, Dan Oski and Marcus on the screen from Tattersall right now, and I'd be like, we're taking 1 and 4.
So not to drive this conversation down that rabbit trail, but is there has there been any diving in to figure out, right, as much as there's 2.5%, I would argue that the 2.5% ratio wouldn't maintain dropping to the new group at 500, right? That's a core group that is going.
It'll probably be a little bit higher with the 500.
I just didn't know if we have any idea of how many of those people have migrated to the new outlet.
The hardcore people have, but remember, we also have 2 other picks out right now, both of which are on sale.
It's fair.
One of the Driftless Glen, we've sold half of that barrel. The Old Elk, we have sold 0.
Gotcha.
Currently,
There's not much left in the barrel, right? Barrel is almost tapped, I think.
Barrel, you mean
Craft
the barrel?
spirits.
Oh,
Craft
that
spirits.
one's gone. Yeah, that one I think is gone.
Yeah, I think that's tapped.
Yeah. Now we do have the benefit of having the incredible generosity of Steve Malloy and the 3 Malloy's locations. Malloy's is who we're going to be using for our retailer for this one. So this barrel will be available for pickup at all 3 of those locations. I think it's just going to be kind of like we did with Barrel Craft Spirits, where it's just going to be like, we're going to put some here, and some here. Anybody that pre-buys will be able to go into any one of those locations and pick up their bottle. But that also puts a big strain on Steve, because now he's got to take up shelf space for something that he doesn't know he can sell. You know what I mean? And that's why pre-selling is so incredibly important, because like Jessel at Hammers, we have that Remus pick. That's 220 bottles. We've sold 21 of them.
Wow.
Since February. Since February. Now, keep in mind, we've also done 12 more picks, 10 more picks.
I was going to say that Remus
since
was poorly, unfortunately, didn't come in a timely.
It just didn't come at the right time.
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
You know, whereas Wheat and Whiskey Society, they've basically sold theirs out, but they've only done 4 picks so far. We basically every month have done a barrel pick. Not to say that Wheat and Whiskey Society doesn't have their merit. It's a great club. I love those guys. We partnered on barrel. In 2022, there was more on the books to partner with them. We had so much on the books that it was hard to mix well.
My wife hates.
You good at taking 2 at all times?
Blending them. Blending them so good in the mouth.
2 cups, 1 mouth.
Dude, 1 is really good. Fuck, 1 is so good.
You're welcome, Tina.
1 is really good. 4 is number good. 4 is number good. 4 is really good. These are real high proof, guys. Jesus Christ.
Well, I'm starting to like when I'm talking.
Yeah.
So here's my dilemma. I'm going to give this.
Then 90 days later, we do another pick and be like, hey, we'll take 1 and 4, stagger them by 90 days.
We could do that. We might be able to do that. We might be able to.
The good and the evil.
We might be able to do that. So here's my dilemma. We're at an hour. I'm going to do another 10 minutes of this, and we have to pick between 1 and 4, and it's got to be a definitive. Because we have 4 votes for number 4. We have 3 votes for number 1. That's really, really close.
But here's the thing:
That's
is
really
anybody
close.
on this call a vote for 1 still?
I have not.
I might still.
yet.
But look,
I'm
Josh is about to come over. How do we get?
I'm
you
still
over,
honestly
man?
on the fence, because the nose on number 1 is so
Dude,
so
I'm
good.
having a hard time staying with 4 because 1 is so good, and I just
So for number 1, I don't feel like
long enough for Steve to leave.
So number 1, I feel like it's the nose, but I also feel like it's the mouthfeel also.
the texture is incredible.
I agree with you.
But
I think 1 is too hot out the gate.
But the best mouthfeel out of all of them is actually the one that we all didn't like the most, which is number 3. Like, feel the texture of number 3. I get that texture is like FAEO2 from Makers. It's like super pronounced.
Oh man,
have to get
I'm gonna
drunk with
Mike.
you
I'm gonna
people.
fuck it. I'm gonna fuck this up for everyone because I have a hard stop. I'm gonna go back to number 1. It was great. It was great, Senor. Dude, 1 is so good. 1 is
I agree with you.
Fucking good.
It's so good, right?
And I have
This
receipts.
is what's difficult.
I texted Mike when I
Oh my
first
God.
nosed these. I have receipts. When I first received these, I sent you a message, Mike, that said, yo, there's a clear winner right out of the gate. Number 1's nose is the best in that entire box.
It smells really good. It really does.
Honestly, if this could be candled, I would buy a candle of this.
100%. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And the thing that sold me on it, I just side-by-sided 4 and 1 again. 4 is really unique. It tastes like tea. It smells like tea. It's really crazy. But then you go and taste 1, you're like, dude, the mouthfeel, the smell, the everything. And the finish goes for days.
So, Nick,
Hey, if we don't pick 4, will you send me more of 4?
I will. I'll send you the rest of the bottle.
There you go.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Love it.
Camp 1. Camp 1 is awesome. Damn.
So we're tied again. No.
So,
Wait a
Nick,
minute.
your
We're
response
4-3.
was one of the barrel pick samples, man, mother of God.
Yeah.
And then the nose so far.
Yep,
Somebody
there you go.
from Texas. Can you
Yeah.
ship to Texas? I'll buy 1 each. Juniper Lane Estate Sales. Well, thank you for watching. I
Shipping
appreciate
alcohol
it.
is illegal.
It
I'll
is
ship- I-
against
we
the
might-
law.
we-
but
you know what?
olive
Tell you
oil.
what, Juniper Lane Estate Sales.
It's such a great name. Hello, I'm Judah Beast.
I'll tell you
That's
what.
somebody that
in
doesn't
South
realize
Carolina,
they just commented
I
on their
will.
business
I will
Facebook page.
absolutely. I'll ship you some olive oil. Absolutely, I
Oh,
will.
that's a
Hey,
YouTube.
Yeah,
check.
okay. I have to go help Sharon before I die. I'm gonna go number one. My God, number one's really good. I wrote
You're-
the most.
You're gonna go number one.
Yeah, I wrote the most notes in number one too. So that's my other thing of like.
yeah,
I also had the most notes for number one.
but
It's not just
but
because it was first.
let's be fair.
Nice
though,
to meet you, Nick.
Josh,
You
I'm
too.
Good to see
taking
you, Nick.
bribes. So what do you got for me?
What's
Okay,
that?
so
I
Nick
can switch.
has
I
gone
can
to
switch
number
from
one.
number one to fourth. I'm joking, by the way.
So so that drops it down to 4 for number 1, 2 for number 2, 1 for number 3, and 3 for number 4. I still think a 1-point lead is a little too short. So if we can make number 1 5 votes, that's going to be
Can
it.
you tell us the votes of the people who weren't here? I'd like to start texting them.
I'll tell you what. I will tell you the results of what each one of them. So, Andrew Moldenhauer, he voted for number 2. Melissa Davison, number 3. John Whitaker, John Whitaker, number 1, which I already marked down, and Jason Christensen, number 2. So the only person that voted for number 3 was Melissa. I do have her notes, which
Texting your husband.
Yeah, let's see if I can pull them up. Just so
three sits in the mouth heavy. Like the texture of it is fantastic. I just don't care for the nose.
So
and the
Melissa
taste.
Davison,
yeah.
just because I want to give her credit, I want her voice to be heard. In my opinion, number 3 was best. The nose was pleasant, with butterscotch being the most prevalent aroma. I would agree on that. The primary flavors that I picked out were chocolate and peanut. I would agree with the chocolate. I almost tasted like a rye version of Reese's cereal. Oh my God, Reese's cereal. I got to go shopping this week. God, I haven't had Reese's cereal.
My kids dig it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. It had a nice long finish that just continued the flavors. Honestly, though, I would recommend all of these bottles. Number 3 was just a little bit better. For number 3,
Melissa's husband went number 1.
Melissa. Okay.
Melissa's husband voted 1.
All right.
There you go.
So if I had to go,
I trust Billy's palate over Melissa's.
with
No
the
shade,
majority,
Melissa, if you're watching.
Women do have better palates, though. That's a scientific fact.
They do, but I don't have her palate. Mine
Tina,
sucks.
Tina, go ahead.
1-4.
in comparing my notes between the two, and then going back after addition of a couple drops of water, the smell and the aroma on 1 is just nuts.
It's so good, right?
It's such a great and pleasant and welcoming smell. And I get back to number 4, and I get like a mix of fruity and floral
For number 4?
Number 4. But number 1, the smell, the aroma just brings me back to it.
Number
and
1.
it first came out hot, but it's actually really good. It's really good.
Yeah, a warmed palate really does it for number 1. And I agree with you. I don't want to admit this, and I'm not trying to go with the crowd. I love that tea nose, the tea palate on 4. I'm thoroughly enjoying that, and I'm not a tea drinker. That is weird for me to say. My wife would be like, "Who the F are you?" But
you guys give me just a
1
second
is
here.
wild.
I want to see if Marcus from Tattersall, so he's the Midwest sales rep. I want to see if Marcus might. I don't know if Marcus, if you're watching right now, because I sent you the link earlier, I'm sending you an email right now. Click that link and log in if you can. You guys and Josh, Grief and Cap, you've done this with us before, and actually, Mark, you have too. This is the most difficult. This is the most difficult one, I think, by far and away the most difficult one we've ever done. It's never gone back and forth like this, like it has with these two. 4, now that it's opening up, the nose on 4 is really great. The nose on 1 is just a little bit better. I think the palate on 4 is really great. I think the palate on 1 is I mean, it's almost neck and neck. You know? Oh, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. So I'm pouring the 2 back to back. And the only reason we're taking this long, guys, is because obviously we want to make sure that we pick the right one. I understand this is a Thursday, 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. It's 9 o'clock there for you guys.
It's Christmas time. We don't care.
So I hope you and then you guys watching too. I'm gonna add a couple drops of water to each one because I think each one benefits from 2 drops of water.
Could really go with either one of these for real.
This is.
Hey, does anybody have any of 3 left?
I do.
Yeah.
Are you guys starting to pick up that as it continues to open? Mine's been sitting for a while because for me it was the least of them, and I've just set it off to the side and kind of neglected it. But that you're starting to get some of that nose of 4, some of that tea and spearmint starting to kick through. I
do actually. It's super dry though.
Yeah. I only went back to it because I was like, well, I mean, at this point, my whole body's numb. I may as well just finish 3 while I debate 1 and 4.
honestly, though, like if I was to build the perfect blend of these, it would be 1's nose, the 4 kind of taste finish, but the texture on the palate of 3. To me,
sure,
3 is fantastic. Not so much taste-wise, but just the texture and the oily in the mouth.
Yeah, that viscous in the mouth is killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do enjoy that. You get we joke about mouthfeel and how it hangs in the mouth, but the way that it coats your mouth so that you actually get the full expression of the palate is really enjoyable. I will give you that.
And I said earlier, and I don't want to compare somebody's whiskey to another whiskey, but like the FAO2 Maker's Mark special release that just dropped recently, it's very similar on the feel, the texture on the mouth. Taste-wise, totally different, obviously, but just that, feel in the mouth. Okay.
Let's do it. You got it?
Yeah.
I know you do. You ain't talking about it if you ain't got it. Let's do it. Let's ride the FAO2 and number 3 side by side.
It's just that texture is similar, and that's what I loved about the FAO2.
Yeah, it's funny. I loved the 01, and then that 02 opened, and it was like, yeah, this is what we're doing. That's what's up.
02 was better than 01, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed 01, and I was like, man, I hope 02 can live up and kind of really complement, and then it blew it out of the water.
So I think FAO1 is actually Whiskey Advocate's number 3 whiskey of the year.
It was my favorite. It was, so I don't get access to crazy stuff, but it was my favorite of the year until I had 2. Not gonna lie. But I'm a novice, so whatever.
So the real question is,
Mike, I can't switch from 1 to 4. Like 1 is still top notch to me.
Yeah,
I agree with.
I'm good. I'm good being on the 1 band camp.
I think number 1.
Yeah,
I think number 1. Josh, have we switched you to number 1?
Yeah, I'm in.
All right, that's 5 for number 1. So number 1 is the winner. Number 1 is the winner. Okay, so
here's the good news I would give you is that as we, I don't know how many people watch this, this hour and 15 minutes of us just oohing and awing over a lot of great selections, right? And I feel like a comic book nerd trapped in an overnight lock-in at a comic book store, which, by the way, is not a negative. But to know that there are where you typically, I think, get a handful of selections, and there's one or two of the 3 or 4 that are really good representatives and something you'd really want to introduce to your group. Like there's like you said, with no one having been able to sample the other ones, there's not a bad offering here where the group would go, why'd you pick that?
Right.
There's good, better, and best, but there's no bad here.
I agree.
I'm pretty impressive for having zero working knowledge of Tattersall whatsoever, other than you gushing over your experience with them.
All right, I'm gonna email. Hold on here. Let me see.
Let's call his cell phone. Sorry, I'm inebriated.
It's only 9:15 here, so I'm assuming he's up in Minneapolis, or they're in Minnesota. Yep. You said, Mike?
They are in Minnesota. I doubt Dan will log in, but you never know. If you can log into the link to join our live stream, and
I'm not lit yet, but I'm pretty close. So this is good stuff.
We'll see. Okay, so number one it is. I think number one has the best nose.
Yeah, numero uno is the winner.
Far and away,
definitely.
So what I wrote down for number one, and I'll get with Nick, and I'll kind of put everything together from the other 4 later on. But what we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here have discussed. The nose for number one: caramel, dried fruit, raisin, apple, brown sugar, caramelized sugar, brown butter. The palate, I had like this roasty, toasty kind of note, almost like a roasted nutmeg or roasted cinnamon, but some sort of like heated sugar. Chocolate covered espresso. The finish, honey, chocolate, heavy, long, oily, chewy. Just a really, really good finish. I think it was a combination of the nose and the palate for number one that really did it for me. Number 4, I would say, is a close second. I would have initially said 1 and 2 were close, but these have changed so much over the course of the past hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half since I poured them.
I think this is a really good bottle to educate people on how to, it's cool, right? We get cool people coming in, but to be able, novices and whatnot, where it's fun to educate them on. This is a really good bottle to experiment with time and water in the opening of it. Because, we came into this one. I came into it with a real dry palate, really cold palate. And that first sip was like, it heated me up. It blew me up. And once my palate was warmed up, it doesn't carry that same heat that I got first. But, and I'm stuck on that warmed fruit baked spice.
Yes.
It's I'm all in on 1. This is stupid.
4 is, I think all of them were great in their own way. I think between 1, 2, and 4, honestly, it was a very, very tough choice. This is the most difficult one that I think we've had to pick. Usually with barrel picks, they'll throw in like one outlier that's just like they're not going to pick that one. Like there's no way they're going to pick that one. And then the other 2, 3, 4, whatever, however many they throw in there are going to be kind of the ones that they really choose from. This one, though, honestly, this was a pretty close game. This one could have really been any one, because now that you pour 3 and it's opened a little bit more, you nose it opens up. They're all really great. I think if we could do 1 and 4, I would definitely do 1 and 4 and do them kind of like a back-to-back, just so you could taste the difference of what we are experiencing. And all 10 people that were on this pick are experiencing. 1, I think this is really close. It just barely edges out number 4, like by just a smidge.
I agree.
Isn't it wild how it just barely edges it out, yet they are probably, of the 4, they're, for me, they're the most polar opposite on the spectrum.
They're totally
I
opposite.
agree. I agree with you.
I mean, one is
Well, but let's compare them though. Like 1 and 2 close, 3 and 4 close. Like if you go back and look, there's 2 that are similar and 2 that are similar. It's like a grouping of 2 apiece of the 4.
I think
I would
1
say
and
3 and
2
4.
are at least comparable. Like 3 and 4, 3's like the redheaded stepchild of 4.
But go back to it, and
Me.
it gets closer to 4 than you think.
See, and I think like I'm always so nose deep in nosing of glass. And with that tea, as you just like kind of grab the wisps on that nose, is where you way better experience the tea.
But I'm starting to get that.
I just started finding that tea on 4.
I'm starting to see it on 3 now, and it's a little bit 3.
It's dominant
also,
on 4, but yeah.
You also get it with like a burnt sugar as well. It's like a maybe sweet tea.
Wow. It's like when
you guys,
get
this
the
is
sweet
fucking
tea
me up.
and the unsweetened
I'm
tea
like not in a
combo at
drunk way.
McDonald's.
Sweet tea McDonald's solid. And I'm not a big fan of McDonald's. I know I'm large, but believe it or not, I don't like McDonald's. But their sweet tea is too sweet for me. But when you cut it, you go 50-50 with the unsweetened. That is where 3 comes into play, where I think 4 is much sweeter. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Anybody watching right now is like, what are they talking about?
These assholes are drunk.
They are babbling about McDonald's tea.
Hey, Mike, I think we went from 500 to 400 members.
Probably. So
sorry for that. Sorry about that 20%.
Marcus with Tattersall is actually watching us right now. He's not in a good place to stream to actually join us.
Come on, Marcus, you can turn off your camera.
Marcus, just so you know, the comment section is open. You can comment on YouTube. So we had 10 people in this one. Not all 9 of you are from Patreon. Again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate the support. This is the toughest one that we've ever done. By far and away the toughest one we've ever done. I have officially put all 4 back in front of me because you guys are going back and forth of like, well, smell this one and no, taste this one and go back to this one. I mean, it's crazy how much they have changed. My dilemma is the average bourbon drinker going to wait an hour and 40 minutes for it to open up enough to drink it?
So can I tell you that? No. So here's where I could say, like, so I live in a business about value add, right? How do we add value to people? And I think a big opportunity, man, is if we can, during the process of this coming in, really start to be a teaching. Like, if you can do a couple opportunities of just like mini teaching outlets about the importance of letting your whiskey open up, right? Giving it some air, a drop or 2 of water, but the progression of like, give it time, then give it a drop, then give it a second drop, and what that does with the flavors and, and breaking down kind of that, that binding that happens inside of the liquid. I think there's a lot of opportunity there in this, more than any of the bottles that have been picked, whether I was a part of them or not in my time around you. I think this is a great opportunity for a little bit of that whiskey teaching. And Mike, you know this stuff, right? This isn't new to you. You're a great guy to do some of that educating.
This one's just tough. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards 1, like heavily leaning. I'm heavily leaning towards 1.
I fell in the glass.
Yeah, I'm heavily leaning towards 1. I think 1 is the one to go with. So number 1, date filled, July 12th, 2018. Sample date, October 25th, 2021. So it's still sitting in the barrel.
Okay.
Proof 130 plus. This is mash bill number 18-146. I don't know what that means, but somebody at Tattersall probably does. I mean, this is, it's just, the more it sits, the more it opens up. it just there's something about it. Number one, I think it's my only empty glass right now. I'll put it that way. It's of all 4 of the glasses, it's my only empty glass, and I'm honestly I'm torn kind of between 1, 2, and 3, but I think 1 is what I'm leaning towards. Cool. So I'm gonna my vote is for number 1.
Hey, Mike, go back to the nose on 2.
I have been.
Mine's all gone.
It's good.
So good.
It's It's actually
buttery.
the second best. It's actually the second best nose of the 4. In my opinion.
I can get down on that.
Oh shit! Damn it, Josh.
I just hammered with half bottles.
That is for sure.
No, I mean this is literally what I have left.
Hey, kill it. Let's get you loopy and funny on the live stream.
The nose has actually come out a lot more on 2.
Yeah.
On 2?
Yeah.
Whereas before it was getting like nothing.
Look, at a certain point, we got to shut down the voting because now we're 90 minutes into these sitting open.
But it does. But here's the thing: ultimately, it matters like what we choose. Like it's going to matter on our notes and like what we put down. I think so. So let's.
I'm sold and closed on 1.
Okay.
I just say it's kudos to Tattersall for making some good drams. That's all.
Seriously.
For real.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's what got me on Tattersall was a year and a half ago, whatever it was. I went into Benny's at Oakbrook and, a buddy of mine works there and he said, try this rye. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. So I bought a bottle of it at $42, $45, whatever it was. And I took it home and immediately I opened it up. And looking at the proof, I want to say it was like 62.5%. So what is that? 125. And I'm like, all right, that's right up my alley. I like the higher proof stuff. And I took that first sip and I was like, holy cow. Like this is unlike anything I've ever had before. And you guys have seen it. John Whitaker, who was actually a part of this pick, was actually the co-host on the episode that I interviewed Dan Oskey from Tattersall. So we got to talk with him kind of like a one-on-one and got to learn a lot about the distillery and his past. I mean, these guys, it's a young distillery, and I get that, but these guys are not new to spirits by any means whatsoever. I mean, every single person within this company has been either a lifelong bartender. They've been in the spirits game. They know how this industry works. So trying the rye and trying their bourbon, especially, I mean, you all got sample number 5, that port finished rye.
It's good.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I haven't opened it yet.
That's a game changer.
I haven't opened mine yet either.
That's on VinePair's top 50 list. Like, that's a huge honor. It's really good.
You said this is distillery. You said this is distillery only too, right?
Distillery only, yeah. You can't get it. You can't get it any. As far as I know, you can't get it anywhere else. But the 4 that we sampled tonight, I think, is a really good testament to how wide of a variety you have in rye whiskey. Being that it's a little bit younger of an age. I mean, we're talking at this point, it's going to probably be about 4 years by the time it's bottled. Younger rye performs better than younger bourbon. It tastes better. Yep. It's bigger. It's bolder. It does better in the barrel. The White Dog, the new make is generally better at a younger age. So I think for what it is, it's a phenomenal product. I'm really, really excited that they opened up this new location in Wisconsin to increase capacity. And hopefully, I work for an alcohol distributor down here in South Carolina. I'm hoping that we can sell them here in Myrtle Beach. I would be super.
Do you know
super
what town that's in Wisconsin?
It's just into Wisconsin, right?
It's just into Wisconsin. Okay. Yeah, it's like it's. I want to say like not far from their distillery in Minneapolis. It's basically just over the border from Minnesota to Wisconsin.
Gotcha.
I don't know
Okay,
the
so
name of
it's
the
the
town.
it's the north end of Wisconsin. It's not just over the border from us in Illinois.
It's the
No,
border of
it's
Minnesota
up by
and Wisconsin,
Minneapolis. Yeah.
but it's up by
Gotcha.
Minneapolis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Shipped bottles makes more sense.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been super excited about this distillery for for the past year and a half. Really excited to pick to finally pick a barrel with them. I don't know how many clubs, how many stores have picked barrels, but this is a really exciting opportunity for us. I know it's a smaller distillery. It's not it's not a brand like Knob Creek or Elijah Craig or anything by Buffalo Trace, but I think the club will really enjoy this in the end.
Absolutely.
Especially with the tasting notes that we have, I think it'll do really well.
Didn't you mention that you also got a sample of their bourbon? How was the bourbon?
So I have a sample of the high rye bourbon and I have a sample of the wheated bourbon. Both of them are really fantastic. You can tell that it's a younger product.
Young, yeah.
It's not super old, 2 to 3 years, I would guess, probably somewhere in that range. I don't know the barrel size of those particular bourbons. I don't know if it's a 53 or a 30 or a 25 or what it is. My guess is it's probably a 30 or a 25 gallon barrel. They are good. They're very good, but their rye is like it's far and away.
What was it? Was it a sub 100 proof bourbon that you had? Well, I guess what was the mash bill? You know what
the mash bill, I don't know. For the high rye, it's going to be, I would guess it's
30, 25 to 30%.
20 to 30% rye. Wheat, probably the same thing. I don't know the barrel size for those, but like I said, I would guess probably 30 or 25 gallon barrel for those two. But like I said, the rye is just by far and away. I mean, rye performs better at a younger age.
Yeah, for sure.
Than the bourbon. For sure. You can definitely tell when you sip a young bourbon. You can definitely tell that it's young. You can taste the green in there. You can definitely tell it's young. Rye, on the other hand, it's
way more than a rye.
This tastes like real fruity and rye is just better at a younger age. So that's why I'm really excited for picking a rye. And this will actually be. So we did a rye with Whiskey Acres, we did a rye with Sonoma, we did a rye with Driftless Glen. This will be our 4th rye that we've picked as a club. So I'm really excited about that. I think rye is kind of an up and coming category. So I'm really excited about that.
That Whiskey Acres is great. The rye. Yeah. So love it. Yeah.
Can you run us through just a real quick recap of what maybe you've got 80+% sure and above for 2022?
So right now, 2022, we're looking for, Tattersall is 100% because Tattersall will be 2022. Old Elk will be 2022. Yep. We're working on, Maker's Mark. We're 50. I wouldn't even say 50-50 for 2022. I would say for Elijah Craig barrel proof, we're probably like a 40-60. Leaning more towards the 40 side. So we'll see.
Sure.
Hey, question on that though. Have you guys heard any reviews of the ones that are out there? Like I've seen some out in the wild, like not in the area, Chicago area, but I've seen like people posting in other areas that they're getting the barrel proof single barrel picks.
Only stores, no clubs are getting barrel picks of Elijah Craig barrel proof. It's only stores right now. The ones that I've heard, the reviews are pretty good. So we'll see. We're gonna work more with Malloy's in 2022 and try to, at bare minimum, we're gonna try to at least do 10 to 12 barrel picks in 2022. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're working on Jack Daniels, but that's more along the lines of like a 30-70. We're not super hopeful on that, but hoping for Jack Daniels. Elijah Craig small batch, we're not really. I personally don't want. I don't want to do a barrel pick of that. Knob Creek, I don't want to do a barrel pick of that. Maker's Mark, I'd love to do. Jack Daniels, Old Forester, we're gonna shoot for that one.
Question for you. So the hesitant on like the Elijah Craig and the knob is just because we can get good store picks elsewhere. Is that
great store picks elsewhere? It's not anything honestly that even interests me.
100% agree. I just was curious on what the thought process.
Yeah, Elijah Craig. The allocation for that is pretty much everywhere. In 2021, they tapped out on their Elijah Craig small batch, so every club and every store that could do a pick did one. It's not anything that excites me. I don't particularly care for Elijah Craig small batch myself personally. I don't buy them.
That's my go-to. Like if I'm in a store and I see it on the shelf, oh yeah, okay, take
for me, like for me, even store picks, I don't really care for. Not pre-store.
It's just a great everyday sipper, man. Like to me,
it's not for me. Like I steer clear of it. It would be a good seller because it's only going to be like $30-$35.
Yeah.
But to do a barrel proof, that's one of my favorites is the Elijah Craig barrel proof. So if we could do one of those, that would be better.
100%.
Yeah. So,
hey, Mike, if we're talking about 2022, can I ask 2 questions?
Yes.
One is Whiskey Acres Bloody Butcher going to be in 2022?
January.
Oh, good, because I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah.
And then 2, if we're going to do Old Forester, can we do a barrel proof rye on that one? Because I know there's a lot of barrel proof bourbons, but I'm really excited about like a barrel proof rye with Old Forester.
So with Old Forester, and this is a big if, with things like Old Forester, Elijah Craig, Jack Daniels, the big ones, those are going to be ones that we go to the place to do the pick. So that's going to be a Patreon raffle, whoever gets chosen for that one. And it'll probably be 10 people. But that's going to be one of those where we'll probably sample quite a few things. And then we pick if it's a bourbon, great. If it's a rye, great. So it's just going to come down to like whatever they sample with us. I've never done an Old Forester pick. I've seen how it's done. I've been there to see how it's done.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really cool. You sit in the middle of the barrel house right in downtown Louisville at their their distillery, and you sit right in the middle of all the barrels, and they just bring stuff out to you. So, that would be one of those.
Cool.
We pick what we pick. If it's a rye, great. If it's a bourbon, great. So whichever one's better.
I've had a couple of the store picks from places around the area here, and they're hot as balls. Like they are super hot. Yeah.
But it's a big name. It's a name that people love. So if you guys are watching,
and I think that's
if you guys are watching live this late or watching this after the fact, it's a good peek at 2020. So
now that we're in the after hours program, it's
this is like, after. We've already picked our barrel. Yeah, this is after hours. This
as
is
silly
the
as it sounds, just the straight up like marketing side of it, like. Yeah, as much as we want to be all about the unique barrel, and I love that, right? And that's why I started with number 4. But I think there's something to, those big names, the Jack, the Elijah Craig, the Old Forester, that attracts your novice, your rookie, or even your your I don't know. We're kind of still wading into the waters of bourbon. I think that's what attracts those guys and gals into what we're doing. You know what I mean? Like not everybody's into the obscure Tattersall, Minnesota distillery. What they put out is incredible product, but name recognition helps. It absolutely does. And to be able to go 100%. Like, hey, we're going to filter an Old Forester and a Maker's Mark into the fold is huge in being able to attract new people and help them develop their palates. And they eventually become part of that. Yeah, let's get into some of these, obscure, micro distilleries or up and coming distilleries. Absolutely. I think those are huge.
100% agree with that, but that said, some of that obscure shit's the best stuff we have. Like the Whiskey Acres stuff.
That's where you get your best shit.
Love it.
Like I don't know about y'all, but on is today Thursday? Okay, cool. So
Thursday.
Tomorrow's Friday.
All day.
I'll be at Whiskey Acres at 3:00, ready for the blue popcorn bourbon to hit.
Good stuff. Such good stuff.
I unfortunately don't have the ability to go get blue popcorn.
No, yeah, Mike, you won't be there. But
I have an old one. But
any of you other 3, will you be out there for the blue popcorn drop at 3?
I will not be able to make it.
God,
unfortunately, I'm sorry.
Got to clear the schedule, but I'm trying.
Come on, man, I'll be out there. We'll have I know a couple guys, couple Fox Valley Whiskey Society folks that are going to be out there 3:00. Glom up some bottles, have a couple cocktails, and enjoy a Friday and Christmas season. Merry Christmas.
I'm trying to find. We're still live. We have no live viewers right now, but for the people who are probably going to log in later,
scared everybody
I'm
away.
They
trying
went
to
to bed,
find
bro.
the list. Well, I'm trying to find the list for 2022.
I'm not sober.
So the email is effects on a barrel pick worksheet, maybe.
Tina,
Too
can
many.
I tell you that board and batten in the background and that blue-white combo?
It's pretty good. I
On
like it.
point.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Really
Took me
nice.
forever to choose a color.
Oh no, you hit that
Finally.
freaking that marquee. Everybody's ready to go blue with the white. No lie, that is the outside colors of my house in Tennessee. Is that blue and white setup? Lights out.
Nice.
Yeah, no,
Josh,
so good.
you're in
This
Tennessee?
is probably by far my favorite
No.
backdrop.
So I'm in Illinois right now, and it sounds bougie as hell. But we built a house in Tennessee about 25 minutes outside Nashville, and we're going to spend a couple years kind of doing this back and forth. I've got a business here that I got to transition down there. So
Got you.
yeah.
So I
need some time.
I have the list in front of me of what we've kind of worked out. We'll put in quotes what we've worked out for 2022. Barrel Craft Spirits we just did. Driftless Glen we did. Old Oak Wheated Bourbon we just did. So Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, that's first on my list. Jack Daniel's Maker's Mark, Yellowstone, Old Forester, New Riff, Sagamore, Wilderness Trail. So those are the top on my list.
How is the Yellowstone? Like, I got a Benny's pick. I haven't cracked yet.
Yellowstone is real good. Some picks are better than others. I've had some stuff from them that I wouldn't, I'd buy as maybe like a mixer. Stephen Beam and Stephen Fonte down there, really, really genuine, great guys, wonderful people to work with. So Yellowstone is pretty high on my list.
It's their own juice then.
It's their own, yeah. So
Yeah.
Stephen Beam has been, 6, 7, 8, whatever years distilling. So he's been in the mix, and being a part of the Beam family, he's actually closer to the Dant family than he is the Beam family. So that being like J.W. Dant, Wally Dant, those guys, he's a lot closer to those guys than he is the actual Beams. He shares a name with them. So Yellowstone with Limestone Branch is high on my list. Maker's Mark, which actually Malloy's just did tonight with Denny Potter, was at the Glen Ellen location. But Jack Daniel's, Old Forester, New Riff. New Riff is a really weird one. They have two separate, I don't want to say they have two separate tiers, but it's basically like if you're a club, you can get these barrels. But if you're a store, you get these barrels. So
bourbon or rye.
Either one, but the club, it's like they reserve these are okay, but the stores, they're like you're gonna get the good barrels if you're a store.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with them. I'd love to do a New Riff pick. It's a little bit tough with them because they have very limited distribution. 2022 is probably going to bring some more micro uber crafty distilleries too. Charleston Distilling is one that was done with Wheaton Whiskey Club. Charleston Distilling is just 2 hours south of me. I know the people very well. I know their product very well. The rye is really good. The bourbon is fantastic. So they have really, really good product, and they have distribution in Illinois. So that's something that we're probably going to look into for 2022.
I was actually going to ask you, being out on the East Coast now, what's out there? Because we don't see or hear a lot of it here. Is there any good stuff out that way?
It's a black hole. It's a black hole out here. Yeah, it all gets sucked up by the restaurant. Blanton's you see everywhere, literally everywhere, but it goes to the stores. It goes to the restaurants. So in South Carolina, restaurants don't buy their liquor from a distributor. Restaurants buy their liquor from a Class B, so it's a liquor store. So imagine Oak and Swine getting their liquor from Binny's. That's basically what they do out here. They don't go through a distributor. Wow. So whatever the liquor store gets is what the restaurants get. So it's really weird how they do it down here.
Hey, can Josh and I spend some time trashing Blanton's?
We can all spend time trashing Blanton's.
Hey, you know what? The best thing
it's tasty up front, but look at that finish.
Yeah, but the best thing about Blanton's, no joke, is the bags that the bottles come in, I can use as like my tea bags for
Yeah.
like my golf tees when I put in my golf bag.
There you go.
Who did you teabag?
On that
Exactly.
on that note, I'm gonna say goodnight, guys.
I might as
Tina
well.
is blushing.
Mark, thanks for
right.
thanks for helping us pick this barrel. It's getting pretty late for me. I do have to work in the morning. It's almost 11 p.m. here on the East Coast. Guys, we picked number 1. Really great
fun.
nose, really great palate, really great finish. The emoji that I gave it was the star. I thought it was really it shined. I think it performed really well. So thanks for everybody. Thanks for watching After the Fact Live, whatever you guys are doing. Thanks for listening to our rants. I'm going to end broadcast. You guys will stay on, and we can all log off from there. Everybody, here's number 1. Cheers.
Hey,
we'll let you guys know
Mike,
when it's
thanks
out
for
in the
putting
market.
this together, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.